Hello everyone, we're back talking about Chapter 11, Multi-Step Equations and Inequalities. Today we're talking about Lesson 4, Inequalities. So an equation is a statement that says two quantities are equal. So if we had something like this and it was 2x plus 4 equals 8, that is an equation. It's saying that this side of the equation right here is equal to the other side of the equation over here. So 2x plus 4 is equal. It is the same thing as 8. That is an equation showing that two things are equal. Whereas an inequality is a statement that says two quantities are not equal. So an inequality shows that two quantities are not equal. Okay? The chart shows symbols and phrases that indicate inequalities. So when you see something that looks like this, that is a less than. That means less than. It means fewer than or below. Okay, those are the key words for something that looks like this. If you have something that looks like this symbol means greater than, more than, or above. Okay, and then we have another symbol right here. Looks like this. And if you see, it looks very similar to here, except there's a line underneath. So it is the same thing. So less than, that's what this is, but that little line, or equal to. That line means it can be equal to. So less than or equal to. It's also represented for at most or no more than. And then the last symbol that we'll be looking at is one that looks like this. And that means greater than or equal to. That's what that little equal to, that line, at least or no less than. Okay? So we're going to complete the inequality for each situation using these symbols right here. Less than, greater than, less than or equal to, or greater than or equal to. So let's read the first one. It says no more than 200 people can be seated in the restaurant. So what I see, the key word I see is more than, right? More than is right here. So it says no more than 200 people can be seated in the restaurant. So no more than 200 people. Well, that means that the number of people seated in the restaurant, you can't have any more than 200. So that means that this has to be less than 200. The number of people seated in the restaurant has to be less than 200. Sometimes I like to think about this as an alligator, and the alligator always eats the bigger thing. So no more than 200 people can be seated in the restaurant. That means that 200 is the max. 200 is the big number. Everything else is less than 200. Okay, so here it says the waiting time for a table is at least 20 minutes. So at least is the key word for this. So let's think about it. The waiting time for a table is at least 20 minutes. Well, can it be more than 20 minutes? Yes, at least means that's the minimal amount, okay? So that means the waiting time for a table is at least 20 minutes, which means it can be more than 20 minutes. So that means that the waiting time is going to be bigger than the 20 minutes. So the alligator is going to be eating the waiting time, but it's at least, so it can equal 20 minutes. And I probably should have made that equal to as well, now that I'm thinking back at it. So the waiting time is greater than or equal to 20 minutes because the waiting time for a table is at least 20 minutes. Let's go back up here. It says no more than 200 people can be seated in the restaurant. No more. Well, then can 200 people? Yes, they can. So that should be, the number of people seated in the restaurant should be less than or equal to 200. And this one should be that the waiting time is greater than or equal to 20 minutes. Okay, so let's move down here. It says the price of all special dinner entrees is below $10. So that means the entrees are below $10. So that means $10 is bigger than the special dinner entrees. So entrees. So the alligator would eat the bigger number. So the special dinner entrees is less than $10. Okay, let's look at this one. The Yoshida family spent more than $40 for dinner. So they spent more than $40 for dinner. That means the Yoshida family spent, the amount that they spent was bigger than $40. So that means the alligator would eat the bigger amount, which would be over here. And it didn't say that it equaled $40. It said it was way more than, or it doesn't say way, but it says it's more than. So that's the way the alligator would eat the bigger thing, which would be this way. So you'd say Yoshida family spent more than $40. And that's how you would write that. Okay, let's flip the page and talk about the next thing. Okay, this states that an inequality can be shown on a graph. So now we're going to talk about how to graph inequalities. So one thing I like to talk about is that whenever we're using less than or greater than signs like this, you use a circle like that. Okay, and whenever you're using greater than or equal to or less than or equal to, what they use is a closed-in circle to show that it can equal. Now, whenever I look at these things like this, I kind of think sometimes that they look like little emojis, like little math emojis. If you put a little circle around them, it's like a little person right there. Aren't they cute? Give them some little hair. This one's just going to have a couple little things like that. Give them little ears, little emoji ears. Yep. Okay, so there you go. So whenever it's greater than or less than, you use open circle. Greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, closed circle. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at this. So it says all numbers greater than 3. Okay, so you would write the inequality like this. X is greater than 3. So how you graph that is you go to 3. It's greater than, it's one of these, so it has an open circle. So right on 3, you put an open circle, and it's the numbers that are greater than 3, so it's everything this way. Okay, so that's how you graph it. The open circle at 3 shows that the value 3 is not included. Like, everything is greater than 3. That means it can't be 3, so you use an open circle. But it can be everything greater than 3. So it can be 3.5, 4, 5. All those things are solutions. Okay, let's go to the next one. It says all numbers greater than or equal to 3. So now we have this greater than or equal to. When we have greater than or equal to, that's going to be a closed circle. And the closed circle at 3 represents that 3 is actually included in the answer. So x is greater than or equal to 3. That means it can be 3, it can be 3.5, it can be 4, it can be 5, it can be anything to the right that is greater than or equal to 3. So those are all the solutions. That's how you graph it. So we look at this one. It says all numbers less than 3. Well, they're the numbers that are less than 3. They don't include 3. It'd be like this. X is less than 3. So you put an open circle at 3, and then you'd show all the numbers that are less than 3. So these would all be solutions over here. And then all numbers less than or equal to 3. So this would be X is less than or equal to 3. And so you put the closed-in circle to show that 3 is included in the answer. And so is, 2.5 and 1 and 0 and -1 and -2. All these are answers. So there's a lot of answers. Whenever you're dealing with inequalities, there's a lot of answers that it can be. Okay? So let's just go ahead and practice graphing. So if we see here, we need to graph x is greater than -4. So it's greater than, it's not equal to, so we know that we're doing an open circle. So I'm going to put an open circle at -4 right here. And x is greater than -4. So it's all the numbers that are bigger. All the numbers that are bigger than -4 go this way. So that's how you graph it. If we wanted to do an extended line, we'd go like this, like that. Okay, let's go on to number 6. So this is x is less than or equal to 1. So less than or equal to is the closed circle here. So we're going to go to 1. We're going to make a closed circle because the answer does include 1. And x is less than 1. So where are all the numbers that are less than 1? Well, they're this way. Okay, so that's how you graph it. Let's do this one, 7. A is greater than -1. So we're going to go to -1. It's greater than, it's not equal to, so that means that we're doing an open circle. So we're going to put an open circle on -1, like that. And A is greater than. So all the numbers that it's greater than, it doesn't include -1, it's everything bigger than -1. So it's going to be all of these numbers because all those numbers are bigger than -1. Okay, perfect. Let's go to the next one, number 8. Y is less than or equal to 3. So less than or equal means that we're doing the closed circle. We go to 3. We make a closed circle here. And y is less than or equal to 3. So everything here, it includes 3 and everything below. So that's how you graph those. Okay? Let's flip the page and go on to the next thing. Now we're going to talk about a compound inequality. A compound inequality is a combination of 2 inequalities. Okay? It's a combination of 2 inequalities. So sometimes you just have one inequality, and sometimes you have more than one. You can have 2 inequalities. So let's see how that works. Here we have, this is an inequality. The 2 inequalities that this is x is greater than or equal to -2, and x is less than or equal to 2. So basically, this graph right here is showing all the numbers. It's saying that the solutions are all the numbers between -2 and 2. So you go to -2, it's x is greater than or equal to, so you make a closed circle. You go to 2, and it's also x is less than or equal to 2, so you do a closed circle here, and x is greater than -2, so it goes this way, and x is less than -2, so it's everything in between there. Okay, so that's an example of a compound inequality. A different type of compound inequality is something that looks like this. We have that x is greater than 2, so notice it's going to be an open circle here. X is greater than 2, so these are all the numbers that are greater than 2 are this way. Or x is less than -2. So it's going to be another open circle, and x is less than -2, so it's this way. So this is an or. Basically, this means the solutions can be over here, or they can be over here. Okay, so it could be -3, or it could be +3, or it could be -4, or it could be +4. But it couldn't be -2 or 2 because it's an open circle. That means that the answers are not included in 2, or it couldn't be any of these in here. So it'd have to be the solutions are over here or over here. So this is shows how 2 inequalities are coming together to form a compound inequality. So we're going to go ahead and graph these. So we're going to graph each compound inequality. So to do that, we're going to take one at a time. So if we look here, we have 0 and 3, okay? So x is greater than 0, so I'm going to go to 0, and I'm going to do an open circle because this signifies an open circle. So an open circle at 0, okay? And basically it's saying that x is greater than 0. So that means all the numbers that are greater than 0 are going this way, right, like that. Then the other inequality that's included here is x is less than or equal to 3. So I know that less than or equal to is a closed circle. So I'm going to go to 3, and I'm going to do a closed circle right here. And what this is saying is that x is less than or equal to 3. So it's the numbers that are less than 3. So that would be the numbers that are going this way. So the solutions are everything in between these two. So it can equal 0, but it could equal a half, a fourth, 3/4. It could equal 1, 2, and it can include 3. So that's how you would graph that. Okay? Let's go on to number 10. So we have x is greater than or equal to 4, or x is less than or equal to -1. So I'm going to do this first one. This is a compound inequality. It's showing 2 inequalities coming together. So x is greater than or equal to 4. So I'm going to go to 4. It's greater than or equal to, which means it's a closed circle, which means it includes 4. Okay, and it says that x is greater than 4. So all the things that are greater than 4 are this way, all the numbers. So those are solutions. Or x can be less than or equal to -1. So I'm going to go to -1. It's less than or equal to, so that's another closed circle. And x is less than or equal to, so that means x is all the numbers that are smaller than -1, which are this way. So this is an or. This means the solutions can be anything over here, or they can be anything over here. Okay, so that's how that works. All right, great job. We'll see you next time.